You're listening to My Comic Life on the My Comic Life Podcast Network. Welcome back to My Comic Life, folks. That's right, My Comic Life. We are your number one podcast for all things geek, nerd, movies, TV, comics, video games, pop culture. If you're into any of that, stop! You know you have found the podcast for you. My name is Sam, and joining me each week in the My Comic Life studios, folks, just this man's skills continue to astound me week in and week out. What this man does, what this man has accomplished, blows me away. Just this week before the show started, he told me he is the interior decorator to every single superhero in existence. If you've ever liked the X-Mansion, if you thought the Batcave was badass, if you thought Clark Kent's apartment really had a nice couch that was feng shui, you can thank the man Alex. Alex, say hello to the folks out there.
Folks, how are you doing? Yes, I am a jack of all trades. I did dip my toes into the interior design. It started out with I designed, Daredevil's apartment. It was really easy. I just picked, nothing had to really match. And, everything just kind of had to be out of the way. So, that's kind of how I got my foot into the door on that. But folks at home, I hope you guys had a wonderful week. Me and Sam have been very, very busy this week as there have been quite a few announcements that came down the pipeline. We knew this was coming and we didn't panic. We stayed the course and we were ready to share it all with you. Sam, how was your week?
Oh man, kind of a crazy week. I was at a buddy's bachelor party in Kentucky from Wednesday until Saturday. Oh my gosh, that was a lot, as I twang my word there, a lot of whiskey, man. I don't know, we packed in like 6 to 8 to 10 distillery tours. We would start our day at like 9 o'clock in the morning at like the earliest possible distillery tour, and then like we would go to like distillery until like 5 or 6:30 at night, and then we would go out for like a really rich dinner and more whiskey. So
Good Lord.
yeah. I thought I had prepared myself for the amount of whiskey that I would be drinking because I love whiskey, but oh my gosh, I'm not gonna lie, like I was the weak groomsman there, man. Like all these other guys, man, like they took me to school on how to drink whiskey and how much whiskey you should be drinking on a daily basis. Like I was blown away. I was not expecting that level of whiskey. Nonetheless, I had a blast. Got to see some really great friends that I hadn't seen in a while. Got to make some new friends. And yeah, just a lot of fun in Kentucky. Alex, how's your week been? What's been going on in your world, sir?
Doing pretty good. Didn't have a too bad of a weekend. Kind of stayed off my feet this weekend. I had a procedure done at the at the doctor, and just kind of had to lay low for the weekend. Still did drink though. Yes, I mean I'm happy to report that I celebrated as much as I could to try it with you, Sam. So, but other than that, like I said, just kind of laid low. And really kept off my feet so that way I could heal up and make sure that I was right here with you on recording day so we could get this news out to the wonderful, beautiful people out there listening.
Awesome. Yes, sir. Let's dive right into it. Well, since DC can't afford to, show off their projects this year, somebody else can. D23, man, D23. Alex, D23 is becoming almost as big as San Diego Comic-Con. Don't you agree?
It really is. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, if Disney wouldn't have bought Marvel, wouldn't have bought Star Wars and stuff, then it would not be as big as it is. But because it is, it does kind of rival a Comic-Con, and I could easily see it becoming maybe even larger than Comic-Con as long as they can keep securing these big names. And it's not always about the shows or the movies that are coming down the pipeline. A lot of times they'll discuss the video games and some of the comic book stories that they're going to be coming up with for the following year. So it's really quite a weekend, and I think it would definitely benefit if one of these years you and I do a live show like on location at D23. So Disney, if you're listening, our email is open. Sam will give you all that information at the end of the show, and be sure to just hit us up, man. I mean, it could be like you could hit us up and be like, I'm sending the jet now, and I will have my shit packed within 20 minutes. So, and just give me time to kiss the kids goodbye, and I'll meet you all there in Orlando or wherever you hold it. So I definitely can't wait. So hit my line, definitely.
Yeah, Disney, we rep you hard on this show. We rep Marvel hard on this show. We love all the things coming out of Disney, Marvel, Star Wars. We are all about that here on My Comic Life. So yes, diving right in here, we're going to kind of do a condensed version because there was so much at D23. We're going to call this the D23 lightning round, really hitting the highlights that caught Alex and mine's attention. And first up, we have Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion is a newly announced series heading to Disneyplus that stars Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury and Ben Mendelsohn as the Skrull Talos, characters who first met in Captain Marvel. The crossover event series showcases a faction of shape-shifting Skrulls who have been infiltrating Earth for years. Alex, right out of the gate here, man, I gotta ask you, are you familiar with the comic book Secret Invasion storyline?
I'm not like familiar per se. Like I didn't read it outright, but I did in the studying for the show. I did kind of do or at least copy a quick synopsis that I can read for you. It's it says Secret Invasion is a comic book crossover storyline that ran through a self-titled 8-issue limited series and several tie-in books published by Marvel Comics from April through December of 2008. Written by Brian Michael Bendis. He's a favorite writer of mine. He did a Spider-Man title that I actually have the graphic novel right here. I love it. It's almost like a retelling of his origin story. And drawn by Lionel Francis Yu, the story involves a subversive long-term invasion of Earth by Skrulls, a group of alien shapeshifters who have secretly replaced many superheroes in the Marvel Universe with imposters over a period of years, prior to the overt invasion. Marvel's promotional tagline for this event was, "Who do you trust?" And I think that's kind of like, it was about time that Marvel I like that they're kind of straying from their normal formula when it comes to these things, and it was about time for them to have a real like a mystery kind of whodunit type of show, and I hope that this is exactly what it is playing out to be in this trailer. But are you familiar with the Secret Invasion storyline, Sam?
No, I'm sorry. All our listeners out there, you can slap my hand. I mean, I knew, like, of course, if you're a comic book reader, if you're a comic book fan, of course you know at least like the plot outlines, like all the major story arcs that have gone on in comics. So of course, I knew Secret Invasion was about the Skrulls trying to secretly take over Earth, but that's about all I knew. I've never read the comic, although I do love Brian Michael Bendis' work. Of course, he is a phenomenal and great comic book writer. But this is one I just never delved into. I was never until Captain Marvel. I mean, like, of course, I knew about the Skrull and Kree war and everything else like that. I just never really dug the Skrulls as villains until, and of course, I know people are gonna be like, "What the hell, man?" But yeah, until Captain Marvel, really kind of gave him like a voice and a face, or maybe. Yes, and just Ben Mendelsohn, lending his rich voice to the Skrulls, and then I kind of became interested. I mean, I knew they were out there. I knew that they were worthy Marvel villains for the most part, but like I said, I don't know a ton about it. So no, I may have to pick up the trade paperback of this and read it.
I did see that it is on because I definitely did that. I went on Amazon and I looked up the Secret Invasion kind of trade paperback that you're talking about. It's like $27 if you get it from Amazon, but you could find it for about half price if you get it from one of the other sellers that have, I have no problem buying a used copy of it because I'm just going to read it anyway. So that's it's definitely a pickup for me.
Yeah, or going down to your local comic book store and pick it up there, man. Support local.
Absolutely. That's always the case, and always what we try and do here on My Comic Life. But I mean, that is just like I said, the 8-issue limited series. But the tie-in books are in the dozens, man. When I was looking up the research, dude, it's like something like 87 different issues is the span of this entire storyline. So I don't know if I'll be getting like the compendium or multiple compendiums that you would need, but I'll definitely try and do as much research as I can leading up to the release of Secret Invasion on Disneyplus. That's for sure.
As will I. But yes, as earlier I mentioned, Ben Mendelsohn and Samuel Jackson were returning. We haven't seen Fury and Talos team up since the events of Captain Marvel set in the early days of S.H.I.E.L.D. Alex, do you look forward to the seeing these two meet up and playing off each other again?
I do. I thought I actually recently watched Captain Marvel again. Me and Britt have kind of been going through all the older Marvel titles just to kind of keep them fresh in our mind. I'm actually watching Thor 1 like yesterday, so
oh wow,
yeah, man, we're going back. So, and I do appreciate. I liked Captain Marvel. I went to go see it in the theaters. I took my mom and my two daughters to go watch that one. Had a blast watching it. I enjoyed it a lot, and yet, as you said, Ben Mendelsohn is a highlight of the movie because he just kind of knocks it out of the park no matter what he does. Samuel L. Jackson is always great to watch. And the two of them, when they had their moments together, it was very funny. And you could tell that they had great chemistry together. And I hope that they can successfully like recreate that for this on the smaller screen. That's for sure. What about you, Sam? Do you look forward to seeing these two getting back in the saddle again?
Oh, hell yes, man. I love Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn. I mean, he's always playing great villains. It's fun to see him play, a hero every once in a while. And these guys play so well off each other. They got that whole buddy cop, Murtaugh, Riggs, Rush Hour, kind of bad boys energy or vibe to them, and they play so well off each other. It's always fun to see these two chew the scenery and share the screen. So looking forward to seeing these two team up or even square off again. I am looking forward to that or to this. That being said, the miniseries brings back Marvel regulars like Colby Smulders as Maria Hill, Don Cheadle as James Rhodes, and friend of the show, Martin Freeman as Everett K. Ross. New to the MCU will be Emilia Clarke, of course, from Game of Thrones, Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin himself from Happy Gilmore. Oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to seeing him in this show. Olivia Colman from The Crown, Kingsley Ben Adir of Peaky Blinders, that's a name for you there, folks, and Killian Scott of Damnation. Alex, who do you look forward to seeing return to the MCU, sir?
I always like Maria Hill because I like Colby Smulders is an amazing actress. She always does an excellent job. I've kind of been a fan of hers ever since what's it called? How I Met Your Mother. She's always really funny in that, and she is the character Maria Hill. She does a very good job of presenting her on screen, and she does a good job playing off of Samuel L. Jackson and kind of taking charge when she needs to. I think it was it the Winter Soldier or was it the I think it was the Winter Soldier when she kind of took charge from Nick Fury after he went underground when they attempted to assassinate him. So she definitely can hold her own, and she's somebody that I think is very underutilized when it comes to the MCU. So I'd like to see her get a lot more screen time. But who do you look forward to seeing return to the MCU?
Oh, again, we are having our and our longtime listeners will know we are having our Charles and Eric mind melding moment here. Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth. Colby Smulders embodies Maria Hill. Wow, there I go again, putting that country twang. Haven't quite left Kentucky yet, folks. No, Colby Smulders as Maria Hill. I mean, she owns that role. She is Maria Hill. She is awesome. and yes, was very, very underutilized to me at times in the MCU. So definitely looking forward to seeing her return. Looking forward, of course, to Martin Freeman as Everett K. Ross. He was a really great character in Black Panther, and I'm looking to seeing his character be expanded and get more screen time as well. But of the new talent, Alex, who are you looking forward to seeing in this MCU project?
Oh man, Amelia Clark, I think, will be, of course, be a very considerable talent for the MCU to get. I honestly can't believe that she would be interested in doing, an MCU project, let alone a small screen MCU project. But I'm very glad that they brought her in. Kingsley Ben-Adir is an amazing talent, and I look forward to seeing what he's going to bring in the preview. He looks like one of the main kind of Skrull dissenters. But it's got to be my man Christopher McDonald. He is and always will be Shooter McGavin to me, and I am a huge, huge fan of his, and I definitely am going to check this out just for him alone. I don't know if he'll ever be able to break out of the Shooter McGavin character for me. Like it's just one of those things where I'm always going to see that character when I see him. But he does kind of, he had roles before Shooter and he's had roles after Shooter, and he's always done a good job. So I know that he is, vastly, an amazing actor, very long storied career. So what he stands to bring to the MCU is going to be very interesting to watch, and that's for sure. But I'm turning that question around on you, Sam. Of the new talent, who do you look forward to seeing the most in this MCU project?
Oh man, this is a deadlock tie. Of course, again, we are a melding of the minds here, Alex. Deadlock tie between Amelia Clark, who rocked it, who owned it, who was phenomenal in Game of Thrones, and of course, yes, Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore. Like you, I know I've seen Christopher McDonald in several other films after Happy Gilmore. I've seen him in films before Happy Gilmore, but man, he's so embodied and so owned that role of Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore. Maybe this will be the role for Christopher McDonald that helps me see him more than Shooter McGavin. Not that there's anything wrong with creating a character like Shooter McGavin who has longevity. I'm just saying though, yes, Christopher McDonald and Amelia Clark are definitely the two out of this new crowd that I'm so excited to see what they're going to bring to this project. That being said, do you think this project could be a passing of the torch between some of the older talent in the MCU and their younger counterparts?
I do think that it's kind of about time for at least this rendition of Nick Fury to kind of either be kind of revealed to be a Skrull or to kind of pass the torch on to Maria Hill, because I think she is a good heir to the Shield throne. Although, and we can talk about it in tinfoil hat time, I don't think that Shield is going to survive this show. I think it's going to be from then on out. It's just going to probably be the Thunderbolts, and somebody else is going to take over, and then probably it'll be like they'll introduce your Norman Osborn, who will take over after that. Yeah, I think that this show would serve as a great passing of the torch for, between Nick Fury and Maria Hill, between, Everett Ross, and I don't know if they're ever what they're going to do with Thaddeus Ross, but we'll definitely, that'll be interesting to see what they do with that character right there. So, I think that this is a shot for some of the newer talent to kind of be ushered into the MCU to take over and kind of lead Phase 4 into a younger direction, a bit more action-packed kind of direction. So I look forward to seeing this come to fruition in this show. But what about you, Sam? Do you think this is going to be kind of a passing of the torch, or do you think it's just they're just like Marvel's just padding their stats at this point and just filling their bench full of these all-stars?
I see it a little bit. I see it being handed off in like little bits and ways, kind of like you said, maybe Samuel L. Jackson, kind of goes rogue or goes solo and turns over the running of S.H.I.E.L.D. to Maria Hill. But doesn't Samuel Jackson doesn't quite ever fully go away, but he's like, hey, Maria, you are now running S.H.I.E.L.D. And then maybe we get to see Martin Freeman, Everett K. Ross kind of step up and take in, kind of like that second in command role that Maria Hill was in. Maybe we see Ben Mendelsohn, kind of walk off into the sunset and turn over leadership of the Skrulls to Amelia Clark. I could be wrong. She could be a villain in this series for all I know. I'm just saying, like, logical passing of the torch moments here. This is how I could see that happening. So maybe a little bit, maybe like you don't forever get rid of these characters like Marvel does with so many of their villains per se. But maybe, some of these people just kind of give up their mantles of leadership and possibly, take a back seat until they are needed for like the next big epic movie or epic showdown or, just whatever they're called upon. That being said, though, yeah, the trailer showed the normal amount of hype and explosions that one might expect from a Marvel Studios trailer. But what seemed to be missing from this was all the Marvel superheroes. So, Alex, I got to ask you, after watching the trailer, what do you think of this show?
After watching this trailer, I got heavy Winter Soldier vibes from it, and I'll tell you why. I feel like it's going to expand on the universe, but it still feels grounded at the same time, the same way that the Winter Soldier did, because it never got out of control, for lack of a better term, kind of the way that things are moving right now with your, it all started with kind of WandaVision and Loki and this whole breaking of the multiverse thing where fans are expecting bigger and bigger storylines and stuff. This one kind of just is a little bit like it draws it all back a little bit, and it's like, yes, this can take place in kind of a more realistic like world that we're building. It doesn't all have to be about breaking the universe apart or finding multiple dimensions and stuff like that. It can be kind of a smaller scale but still have grave consequences. So that's what I think that this trailer shows me, but I don't know. You may feel otherwise. Sam, what did you think of this show?
I was kind of excited to see a lack of Marvel superheroes on this show. If you're not going to give me like a Mace Windu series, at least give me like a Nick Fury series, and I think that's what we are getting here. I love the idea that like Samuel L. Jackson is going to have to face this kind of like onslaught almost solo with just the help of like Maria Hill and Everett K. Scott and Ben Mendelsohn. But I love it and I hope that it's mainly just going to focus on Nick Fury, trying to prevent a secret invasion of Skrulls taking place on Earth. Like I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see an MCU show where there aren't any superheroes or like little to no superheroes, and it's just ordinary people taking up the mantle of the hero, if you will, and fighting and kicking ass, and nobody does that better than Samuel L. Jackson. So I'm excited to see this. I'm looking forward to this. Moving forward here, though, tinfoil hat time, Alex. Let's put them on. Let's pull them out of the drawers here. What are your crazy theories? What are your thoughts? What are your outlandish ideas for this? And second question, is this going to be a day one watch for you?
To answer your first or the second question first, yes, this will be a day one watch for me because I did, like I said, I got heavy Winter Soldier vibes, and it is, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's my favorite Marvel movie that I've seen, and I can't wait to watch something like this again. As far as the tinfoil hat, I kind of touched on it before. I feel like by the end of this show, S.H.I.E.L.D. will be no more, or I guess S.H.I.E.L.D. as we know it will be no more, and it'll probably be something where Val from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series takes over, and you get the actual Thunderbolts, who were, in fact, kind of introduced in a way over the D23 panel. You got a big, nice big old picture of all of them. It included, Yelena Belova, It had the Winter Soldier in it. It had a lot of super soldiers were in it. It had Taskmaster. I want to say it had the who was that Soviet Captain America that was in
Oh yeah,
Black Widow?
the
The Red
the
something.
Red Guardian.
Yeah, the Red Guardian. And you have Ghost, and then you had Val, and I think there was one other person I can't remember, but those are confirmed members of the Thunderbolts crew for now, who are actually a big part of the Secret Invasion storyline. Them and the Young Avengers team up to fight the actual the Skrulls that have been taking over these superheroes for the last so and so years or whatever. So I don't know if this show has implication like a season 2, or if it leads into the Thunderbolts show, where we'll see them kind of actually fight Skrulls and stuff like that. But that's kind of where my tinfoil hat is leading. That's where the direction that my tinfoil hat is leading me, is that Shield is no more. It'll be Thunderbolts, and it's going to be like almost like the very next day when Thunderbolts episode 1 picks up, is going to pick up where Secret Invasion, the final episode, lets off. I think there's going to be like zero time in between the two. What about you, Sam? You got the tinfoil theory for me?
Yes, some crazy tinfoil theories. First of all, yes, this will be a day one watch for me. Secondly, I do believe Shield survives this, but maybe just by the skin of its teeth, kind of like in Winter Soldier. Tinfoil hats. The Fantastic Four may show up in this, or one or two members of the Fantastic Four may show up in this to help fight the Skrulls. Second tinfoil hat theory: Henry Cavill shows up in this as Nova in this show, and we sort of kickstart a Nova movie, if you will. I've been wanting Nova to show up in the MCU for a while now, and yeah, I think Henry Cavill playing Nova would be badass, and would love to see him show up, especially if he was. If you write his character as he was in the outer reaches of space and missed like the Nova Corps being wiped out by Thanos, and he's got some anger about that, that would be amazing. All the what do you want to call it? The Miss Marvel, the Captain Marvel women. Sorry, I was getting my superheroes mixed up there. All the women of Captain Marvel show up in this show at the end to help fight the Skrulls, and we get a surprise, cameo by Brie Larson, and this launches, the second Captain Marvel film. Those are my tinfoil hat theories there.
I can see it.
I know mine are way more far-reaching than yours. Yours are way more plausible. You are definitely the one not wearing the straitjacket in this conversation.
Tinfoil straitjacket.
Here, sir. Yeah. You're not wearing the tinfoil straitjacket. Any final thoughts on Secret Invasion before we move on here, Alex?
No. You fans can always keep it locked here on My Comic Life. Any and all information, Secret Wars, we'll definitely give it to you guys exactly how we get it, when we get it, as fast as we possibly can. And I definitely am going to, I'm looking on Amazon right now for a copy of this, so that way I can get it sent to me, and I'm going to be checking out this storyline for sure to see how it measures up to its small screen counterpart.
All right, folks, moving on. A second project that most definitely caught the attention of Alex and myself is Werewolf by Night. On a dark and somber night, a secret cabal of monster hunters emerge from the shadows and gather at the foreboding Bloodstone Temple following the death of their leader. In a strange and macabre memorial to their leader's life, the attendees are thrust into a mysterious and deadly competition for a powerful relic, a hunt that will ultimately bring them face to face with a dangerous monster. Alex, what do you know about the original Werewolf by Night comic?
Not much, but a lot like the Secret Invasion before that. I had to do my research for the show, of course. I have a slight biography for you here. It says, Jack Russell is a descendant of a mystically altered offshoot of humans known as lycanthropes. During the night of the full moon and the 2 nights surrounding it, he is forced to mutate into a werewolf, a large, powerful form which is a hybrid of human and wolf and loses his human intellect. Through a series of events, he is also capable of mutating voluntarily outside of the full moon, at which time he remains in control of himself. As a werewolf, Jack gains the proportionate physical advantages of a nearly 7-foot tall wolf. In this form, he possesses superhuman strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, and reflexes. He possesses a superhuman sense of smell, which carries over to his human form. He can also lick his own ball. No, that's not in here. Hold on. He has razor-sharp teeth and claws that are able to rend light metals. The werewolf is resistant to many forms of conventional injury and very difficult to kill by conventional means. Though he can be severely wounded, he recovers from non-fatal wounds much faster than a human would. He is vulnerable to magic attacks, of course. It's always freaking magic. And like all werewolves, he can be killed by weapons made of silver due to its inherent mystical purity. So that being said, yeah, I know, right? That was one hell of a biography right there. But that being said, Sam, was I just preaching to the choir there? Did you know anything about Werewolf by Night?
I knew nothing about Werewolf by Night, but now after hearing you read that biography, like I want to go pick up like any like trade paperbacks or compendiums and read them. The only werewolf I knew of existing, you know, like in the Marvel comic universe was on X-Force, you know, and she wasn't even really like a werewolf per se, you know, that was just kind of her mutation was she got wolf-like abilities and powers, you know, but beyond that, you know, occasionally, like maybe you would see Morbius or Blade, you know, slaying like a background werewolf, if you will, you know, at like the start of a comic book, but like there was no, so far as I knew, like established Marvel werewolf until you just read me that description.
I think that Werewolf by Night has actually, which is, I think, up there. It's got to be top 10 as far as like superhero names. I mean, Werewolf by Night is like that's a pretty bitchin' name for a guy. But I think he is actually a member of the Midnight Suns, and he has teamed up with Morbius and the likes of Blade and Johnny Blaze and people like that before. At least through doing my research, I believe he has. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm such a big fan of the Midnight Suns. They need to do a Midnight Suns project. But that being said, this project here is starring Gael Garcia Bernal, who you will know from Station 11 and Coco as Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night, and Laura Donnelly from Outlander as Elsa Bloodstone. This one-shot TV movie is directed by first-timer behind the camera Michael Giacchino. Well, I'm hoping I'm not butchering that name. Or Michael Giacchino. Wow. I'm going to say that name 8 different ways, Alex. Anyway.
One of them will be right.
One of them will be right. Former award-winning composer of I Shit You Not. I mean, his IMDb list is almost too long to read. Oh my gosh. This guy's composed everything under the sun.
Dude, movies, TV, video game. He's got
Jurassic
like multiple
Park, Spider-Man, Thor, man, just wow.
Even so he's got the Batman. I mean, multiple Pixar movies. Like this man, Star Trek, Zootopia. This guy's got so much stuff, and it's wild. Like this guy's list of credits just goes on and on. It's like watching this guy's like the composer version of Jackie Chan right here, dude. This is nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see a composer, like it's somebody who's so known for their music, stepping behind the camera, because you never see like John Williams, or Steve Jablonsky stepping behind the camera. So that's a fascinating choice. Then again, Marvel has always picked fascinating and kind of like directors who you wouldn't think could helm projects, and they always turn out amazing. Dark
That's
horse
true.
Directors, if you will. And every time you think, no way, that guy's going to do Guardians of the Galaxy, or that guy's going to do Iron Man, really? Or, the guys who directed, a few episodes of Arrested Development are going to handle, like the last chapter of like the, phase 1 of the MCU. And it's just been amazing every time. So I fully trust Marvel on this decision. I will be fascinated to see what this looks like. This made-for-TV movie is written by the talented team of Peter Cameron, who's worked on shows like Carnival Row, WandaVision, and Moon Knight, and Heather Quinn, who was a writer on Hawkeye. With so much amazing talent, what do you look forward most from this production, Alex?
I think, like you said, with the include or with Michael Giacchino running the show, the thing I look forward to the most, believe it or not, is probably going to be the music behind this. I feel like this is gonna be like banger after banger after banger from this guy. It's gonna be his directorial debut. I do think that he is going to just grand slam walk off, just like smoke this one straight into the upper deck. And I this is almost like a cannot fail for me, especially with the kind of off the wall trailer that they gave. Because if it is filmed in the same way that we see it, it presented in the trailer, then it's just going to be something that's so kind of quirky, so different, that it's just going to be like very difficult to not like it when so many fans have kind of been getting tired of the kind of formulaic way that Marvel has been running things for a little while now, much to their success. You can't fault a company for, basically printing money at this point, but for them to really kind of think outside of the box and bring something like this to the table and really make it like a made-for-TV movie type of production is something that I'm very interested in, and I will definitely be keeping up with the development of this. But what about you, Sam? What do you look forward to the most from this production?
Like you, I think the music is just going to be amazing. It's going to be off the wall with, seeing all of Michael's recording talents. I mean, the music is not going to miss on this. And even in the trailer, I was getting goosebumps and getting like a little nervous and scared because the music was so perfect. It was set to the scenes beautifully. So cannot wait to see, like I said, just the music for this, the score. And just overall, man, like I've always loved supernatural stuff. Always been drawn to any TV show or movie involving vampires, werewolves, ghosts, demons. I mean, sign me up. That stuff is awesome. Um, and yeah, so like I said, just looking forward just to seeing a more spooky production coming out of Marvel. That being said, this seems like something Marvel Studio has not done before. Are you hoping to see more productions like this?
I definitely am. I think they do have some things in the pipeline. The one that immediately comes to mind, I guess, it would be the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Things like that are kind of made specifically for Disneyplus and to kind of showcase that. I don't know if this will necessarily even be considered like canon within the MCU. This might just kind of be its own thing, which would also, that's not a bad thing per se, but it would also be really cool if it did kind of tie in somewhere down the line to like you said, we're getting the Midnight Suns, we're throwing Blade in there, we're getting Moon Knight in there. There's some rendition of Ghost Rider that would be in there. Maybe even the Punisher and Doctor Strange. That's a kind of pretty sweet team up that I would love to see in some way, shape, or form. Even if it isn't like on the big screen, I would still check it out if it was on Disneyplus. But I do think that something like this definitely, like I said, it perks my interest. This will be a day one watch for me, for sure. Maybe not day one. I may try and save it because I think it comes out October 7th. So I might wait until a little bit closer to Halloween in order to catch it. But I definitely will be checking this one out for sure. And other than that, I just hope that Marvel does that this is a successful production in the eyes of Marvel, and they do kind of feel, I guess, brave enough to kind of fund these more passion projects that so that way we can get some really unique kind of productions put out there in the MCU. But do you like to see more production? Would you like to see more productions like this, Sam? And would this be considered like a day one watch for you?
Yeah, okay. Hey, yes, this is most definitely a day one watch for me. This movie comes out on my birthday weekend, which I'm hoping to have off from work. So yeah, This could definitely be a day one watch for me. And yes, after watching this trailer, yes, I hope Marvel does kind of more obscure passion projects like this. Don't get me wrong, I love the main, the main staple, the main cavalcade of Marvel superheroes, if you will. It's fantastic to see them on screen, but I always love it when, Marvel or DC or Image or anybody give some on-screen love to the more obscure background heroes. Kind of like you mentioned, like the Midnight Suns or the Starjammers or anything along that line. The more obscure groups that you really kind of have to know about. This trailer looked amazing. You got to see Man Thing. Man Thing pops up in this trailer. You were showing me this before the show. I'm so thrilled to see Man Thing finally joining the MCU, canon or not canon. I don't care. He's still going to be in this. And I was proud of Marvel. There looked to be like a decent amount of gore in this trailer. I mean, like even in Shadow, like you saw
That's
some
true.
like you saw somebody's arm kind of being ripped off and people being torn up, and I was like, salute to you, Marvel. You're getting ballsy. Like you're not going to be afraid to show a little teeth, a little grit, a little blood and guts, if you will, because it is Halloween, and yes, that's how a Halloween project should be a little bit. So salute to you, Marvel for not being afraid to do that. That's what's really kind of enticing me to this is just the story, them not being afraid, to like I said, show a little teeth and guts, if you will. And just and I love that it's shot in black and white. That's so fascinating. That's so cool to me. That gives it a touch of the old, if you will. And for displaying obscure characters like Man Thing in this film, like these are all the reasons that I am drawn to this project, and it will definitely be a day one watch for me. Alex, I'm going to give you last word here before we wrap up here on Werewolf by Nights. Just any final thoughts, any last tidbit you want to throw out there, sir?
I do like that you commented that, you appreciate that it is in black and white, and I do too, because it does kind of lend it that old school Ed Wood, Vincent Price kind of vibes, because that it's got their fingerprints all throughout the trailer, and I really hope, it's high time that we did have something along those lines come down. And I think not since like, what was it, like House on Haunted Hill or something like that, have we not had something that was like not only like scary but like fun at the same time. So I and that's what this looks like. So I can't wait to have a good time this Halloween. Not necessarily watching it with my younger kids, but I'll definitely be watching it with my older daughter first before I give it the younger ones a shot. That's for sure.
All right, well, folks, moving from the spooky side of things at Marvel, we are jumping over to She-Hulk Attorney at Law. We are about to cover the 4th episode, folks. So if you have not seen the 4th episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, pause the podcast here, log on to Disneyplus, watch it, and then come back and pick up the podcast here. I'm about to give you that oh so famous, oh so fabulous, oh so awesome My Comic Life spoiler alert countdown, and then we are getting right into this, folks. So here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, you're getting spoiled. The 4th episode of Marvel Studios' She-Hulk Attorney at Law is titled, Is This Not Real Magic? And originally premiered on September 8th on the Disneyplus streaming service. The episode was directed by the talented previous showrunner, Kat Coiro, and was written by Melissa Hunter, who has worked on Santa Clarita Diet. Donnie Blaze, a magician at Mystic Castle who is expelled from Camartage for unethical use of powers, sends an audience member named Madisynn, with 2 N's and a Y, but not where you think, to another dimension where she makes a deal with a demon before being transported to Wong's home in Camartage. Donnie Blaze, Alex, you are usually our resident comic expert here. Donnie Blaze, any relation to Johnny Blaze that you know of, sir?
So I think the reigning theory is that there is already an established Johnny Blaze in this universe, and that he is trying to capitalize off of that by creating the name Donnie Blaze. So that's kind of the the theory that's been going so far is that maybe they will eventually bring Donnie Blaze up. Like he'll get sued by Johnny Blaze, the Daredevil stuntman who becomes Ghost Rider. So that's one of the theories, is that there will be an episode down the line, either later on in this season or season 2, where we will see Donnie Blaze again, who is played by I believe is Reese Coiro, who is Kat Coiro's husband, and he's very funny. But we can get back into that later. So that's what I think as far as with Donnie Blaze. I think that he's not supposed to be like Ghost Rider or anything wild like that. But I do think that it does kind of wink that there isn't a Johnny Blaze in this universe.
All right. Well, Wong approaches Walters and asks her for help in making an example of Blaze so that people like him will not be able to misuse the mystic arts. So they launch a legal case against him and Mystic Castle's owner, Cornelius P. Willows. Meanwhile, Walters creates a profile on a dating app in hopes of expanding her social life, but has little success until she changes it into a profile for SheHulk. Blaze accidentally unleashes a swarm of demons at one of his shows, but Wong and Walters are able to stop them before she threatens Blaze and Willows. Wong and Walters are able to stop them before she threatens Blaze and Willows into complying with her cease and desist order. The next day, Walters learns that Titania has been freed and is filing a lawsuit against her, having trademarked the name SheHulk. Alex, this episode was full of funny moments and really gave this show a chance to flex its comedic muscle along with its physical muscle. What were some of your favorite moments from this episode?
I definitely liked the action, the demons, and stuff like that. But to me, the real highlights of this episode were the two characters that were introduced, and that was, Donnie Blaze and Madisynn. Madisynn, very, very funny. I think it's Patty Guggenheim is the name of the actress, and she killed it. But it was just my personal favorite was Donnie Blaze, because he was just so he was so fucking funny to me, just like this magician just trying to make it. And for some reason, magicians failing will always be hilarious to me. So I definitely he got a laugh out of me. Basically 90% of his lines had me cracking up, and this was a very funny episode. It is kind of it's a lot of the people that have issues with this show kind of are looking for that that prototypical MCU production where it's high action, high octane, big explosions and stuff, and you really should just be looking at this show more of it's a Saturday morning cartoon, and then you'll just you'll have fun with it. And that's kind of what it's designed to do. It's designed to just be a fun show, and just kind of it's a comedy first, but it just happens to be starring what they said is 6'7" green SheHulk. So just take it for what it is. I'm glad that an episode like this came along where it is kind of so popular, and it does have the characters that are really funny and kind of get the show out there more, to where more people will learn to appreciate it the same way that you and I do. But what were some of your favorite moments from this episode, Sam?
Oh, man. Any scene that Madisynn was in, she stole the show for me. She cracked me up. I got a little annoyed at her because she kept spoiling The Sopranos for me. I know. Sopranos came out ages ago. I'm late to that. Some of us didn't have premium HBO growing up as kids. We just now got it in our latter adult years. And so we're getting caught up on some of those all-star HBO shows that we couldn't watch back in the day. And boy, did I get a lot of spoilers for that one laid on me there. I thought it was creative writing. I really liked the writing in this show as to how they brought Wong back in, and how Wong tried to level a legal case against oh my gosh, Blaze. I want to call him Barry.
Donnie Blaze.
I almost called him Barry Blaze. And instead of just going there and using magic to punish him or strip him of his powers, he tried to take a legal route, and I found that to be just kudos to the writers for finding a fun and creative way But yeah, any scene with Madisynn and Wong were cracking me up. And yes, of course. So I would rate it Madisynn first, Wong second, and then yeah, Donnie Blaze coming in third. Yeah, I love seeing hack magicians. Who can't really do magic and like you said, just kind of fall flat on their face trying to do magic. Uh,
Dude, it's just something about the confidence that they have is just
yes.
like it just cracks me up, dude. It just
Yeah.
gets me. I
Um,
don't know.
so yeah, so definitely that was funny. Of course, like the demon fight at the end was really great. But it really was less of the violence and more of the characters that really made this episode really stand out and so strong for me. And just uh, man, that line about dating in your 30s as a guy who is in his 30s and is still dating. Yeah, man, Jennifer, I felt you there, my friend. Yes, I definitely could relate to you there. But like I said, yeah, just the more kind of character-driven moments of the show. Madisynn in court, the magic shows, her dating, Wong just hanging out, trying to watch, The Sopranos and relax and not be bothered, in in Camartage. At the end, Madisynn and him having a date night talking about all the alcoholic drinks they've ever consumed. Just loved all that stuff for sure. Did you have any other favorite moments in the show, Alex, or any other things that you wanted to explore or dive into?
Yeah, I think all the fourth wall breaks were really good. Like you said, there was the one, is there anything worse than dating in your 30s? And there's also like at the very end where she's like kind of a bummer way to end this episode. I bet there's a fun tag, and it does turn out to be, so she still is. I mean, Tatiana Maslany still just killing it, man. I don't know. I like this show a whole lot, dude. This is probably one of my favorite um, Disney Plus shows that have to do with Marvel, and like I don't know, episode after episode, man. I'll definitely be watching this again. Like I wanted to watch this episode again, like not right before we started the show. So the minute we get off, I'm probably gonna definitely watch this one again.
Well, speaking of, what do you rate this episode, Alex?
I think this one's got to get like my highest so far. I think so far the highest rating that I've given any episode was a 9. I think that was last episode. So I give this one probably like like a this one gets a 9 as well for sure, or maybe even a 9.5. If upon second watching, I may appreciate a little bit more because there wasn't a lot of moments in this that I just kind of like. There was no eye rolling or no TV tropes or anything like that went on while I was watching this. It was just funny from top to bottom. I laughed pretty much like in 2-minute increments. I was always like laughing. Like the show it was very, like you said, it was very well written, very well acted. Everybody seems to be having a lot of fun on this show. The chemistry is great. So and it shows, and the final product is just, to me, it's up there as far as one of my favorite shows that I'm currently watching. But what would you rate this episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law?
Buddy, this gets a 9.0 from me, a solid A to almost A plus. Like you said, loved the pacing, loved the writing, loved all the characters in this show. Like you, I may go back and just watch it again just for kind of like that final fight scene and just for all the little moments we get with Wong. But yeah, no, like I said, this was just a great episode. This is one of the rare times, usually I give all these shows like, 8.5, 8.8, like solid B plus, but no, this one went above and beyond. Um, yeah, solid 9 for me. Alex, as we wrap things up here, just any last thoughts on anything we've talked about here, from Secret Invasion to Werewolf by Night to She-Hulk. As always, sir, I'm gonna turn the last words of the show over to you before I do the social media blitz.
I think keep it locked here on My Comic Life. We didn't have a whole lot of. We're trying to keep these shows like a bit shorter, so that way you guys can watch them on, or you listen to them during your morning or afternoon commutes and stuff, and get all your news in one quick and concise way. But it's just when weeks like this come along where it's D23, we weren't even able to fit everything that was in D23 we weren't even able to fit everything that was in D23 from Marvel.
Yeah, I know.
So it's kind of like, there are other things. We will be covering them, in next week's and in following shows. So make sure you keep it locked here. As I always say, just keep it locked here on My Comic Life. We'll be sure to get you as much news as possible when it comes to anything geek, nerd, movie, whatever it is that Sam says. I'm sure my man has got it down to a science, and I will let him take it away from here. Sam, please save me.
All righty, sir. Yes, it's time for the social media shout-outs. If you want to hear us talk more about D23, if you want to hear us talk more about Trek, Star Wars, what's going on in the very maligned DC universe right now, email us your thoughts on the show. We are, of course, a show of the fans, for the fans, by the fans. Email us at mycomiclife@gmail.com. I know that's a long email address, but it's all one word, and also just mycomiclife@gmail.com was already taken, so what are you going to do? But again, email us your thoughts on the show at mycomiclife@gmail.com. Like our Facebook page. If you don't know how to find us on Facebook, just search My Comic Life and look for that oh so beautiful, oh so epic, oh so one of a kind My Comic Life logo. We also have a YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that little bell. That really does help grow the show. That gets advertisers interested in us. That gets sponsors interested in us. That bell lets YouTube know that you are watching us and they should be paying attention to us. And that is so what we want. And so, yeah, every like, every subscribe, every bell you click on really means a lot to us. You, the fans out there, really make this show. In fact, it is time to shout out our My Comic Life fan of the week. Our My Comic Life fan of the week is Michael Evans from Bisbee, Arizona. Michael Evans from Bisbee, Arizona. Thank you for clicking that bell notification on our YouTube channel, sir. You were awesome for that. Salute to you, Michael Evans. Again, Michael Evans from Bisbee, Arizona. Salute to you, sir.
Michael, thank you so much for supporting the show. We always appreciate our fans. Thank you for reaching out, and definitely hit me up if you need any tips on any interior design, my friend.
One last social media shout out. We are now on Spotify. I'm going to post a link to our channel on our Facebook page. I know some people have been reaching out, having a little trouble finding us on there, but of course, Spotify is flooded with podcasts. Just keep looking. Just keep searching My Comic Life and just keep looking out there. Alex, I did it again. Apologies to Kevin Smith. We just ran out of time. Yes, sir.
Man.
Yes, I know. We want to have you on the show. We want to hear about Clerks 3. We are huge fans of you on here, sir. Just again, apologies to Kevin Smith. We just ran out of time. But folks, yeah, this wraps up another great episode of My Comic Life. So as always, ditch the herd, be a nerd. Stay strong out there, my friends.